As a Haibane, you must follow an assortment of rules. These rules have always been followed because that's just how it's been since the very beginning. 1. A Haibane is only permitted to wear used second-hand clothing. 2. A Haibane is forbidden to handle any kind of money. They are to work for the pages in their booklets in order to purchase food or used clothing. 3. Haibane must not live in the homes that have been constructed for humans, only abandoned buildings meant for the Haibane. Though I didn't understand them in the beginning, I followed them dutifully. I bought my clothes at the second-hand shop in the town of Glee. I lived in the old home with the other Haibane. I got a job as an assistant in the Undertaker shop in the back of town and earned the pages in my booklet. I walked the streets with my other friendly Haibane friends, our wings flapping and our gold coronas floating gently above our heads. But there is one rule that I never understood, one I hated with every ounce of my being, the biggest law that is forbidden to break. 4. Haibane are forbidden to leave the town of Glee and the walls that surround it. We are forbidden to go anywhere near the walls or the forest that blocks them. Oh, I hated that law like it was made just to spite me. Like the communicator mocked me every time I went to see him. Doka is the communicator, an older man that wore a mask over his face and fake steel wings on his back along with a fake metal corona woven from bronze. He's the head official of the Haibane Renmei, an association that gives us Haibane our lifestyle. Doka never speaks out of turn and gives advice, really riddle-like advice, and is the link between the humans here in Glee and us Haibane. The only people allowed in and out of Glee are the Toga, a really creepy bunch of men who only communicate through a sort of sign language that only them and the Doka understand. They never show their faces, wearing similar masks as Doka. The humans and Haibane are forbidden to have anything to do with Toga, mainly because they don't speak and they're the only ones who are allowed in and out of Glee. When I first went to the Haibane Renmei, it was to see Doka personally, not to request a booklet, not to ask for his otherworldly advice. It was because I don't remember my dream in the cocoon. Haibane are not born like humans, we are hatched. We start out as a plant, no bigger than a dandelion. We grow in this plant, dreaming a unique dream that only we can interpret. This plant grows rapidly into a 10-foot cocoon filled with a breathable liquid. Then we are hatched, looking as human as the rest in the beginning, until we go through this incredibly gory process of growing wings. Pretty gray wings that are too small to fly, but symbolize we are born without sin. But I was born with black wings, too big to be normal. I remembered the dream, but only fragments. I couldn't breathe properly, and the dirt underneath my body was cold and damp, causing me to shiver. It boxed me in on all sides, no escape. But that's it. Doka was silent, showing no signs of emotion to my tale as I stood in front of him, waiting for his wisdom to bring me relief. Child, you are bound by a sin only you can configure. A sin in your past life that has followed you here and turned your wings the unholy shade of black. His hoarse voice spoke through the mouthpiece in his mask. Bound by sin? How am I supposed to know what it is if I don't remember who I was before I was in the cocoon? I shuddered, tears springing to my eyes painfully. I'm different than the other Haibane around me, an outcast to them and the humans. We Haibane are named after the content of our dreams. For now, your name is Haka. It means grave, he announced coolly, handing me my booklet. My eyes strained against the molten tears streaming down my cold cheeks. But that's my name? I don't understand, damn it! To make these worse, when my corona finally stuck, it dimmed from a lovely gold to rusty yellow, a dark gold corona and black speckled wings. The other Haibane avoided me, wary of my harsh words as I lashed out at the others. In the old home we are all girls, living in different rooms of the large building. They laughed and teased one another, gray wings settled against their backs, and skin peachy with life. After some time, I stopped going to the reception room with them to eat our meals. It was like all the other rooms in the old home, but was meant for the Haibane to meet in the morning and evening for meals. I hung out at the factory, a different function on the outskirts of town, with the only other pack of Haibane, though mostly guys. They didn't judge me as much, and if they did, they were blunt about it. Not like the girls at Old Home. They kept their judgments to themselves, but alienated me in the process. Haibane don't live long, only a few years before they find their resolve and take their day of flight. They go to the forest and stand on this old stone tablet, where they finally fly. A beam of light into the clouds that takes them to a better place, leaving their corona behind. It's the closest we're allowed to get to the walls that surround the town of Glee. But Haibane that are sin-bound aren't allowed to have a day of flight. When Doka told me this, I lost it. Why am I not good enough to pass on, Doka? I hate it here. I can't sleep. I'm tormented with my graves dream every night. I'm bound by sin. I can't even go out to the street without wanting to crawl into a hole, I screamed, being held back by a toga. He just remained still, pissing me off further. I hated him. I hated the toga. And I hated being trapped in this damn cage of a town. I'm claustrophobic. I can't stand this damn town. I don't want to be here, I sobbed, breaking down to my knees. But he just patted my head and left me there to bury my sorrows into my soaked hands. I showed them, though. A Haibane isn't meant to fly with the wings that they are born with, but I can. I practiced every day, standing atop the factory and pumping them like the crows that surrounded the city. When I managed to get high enough to touch the skies, I decided there that I was ready to leave the town of Glee. No one knew what lay outside the town of Glee, but I would be the first to find out. I'm never coming back. But what I didn't know was, as soon as I flew a foot outside Glee walls, did my stomach tie up in knots and my eyes begin to burn. Pain radiated behind my skull, my ears, and nose, but I flew farther, blood dribbling from my ears and nostrils. With every flap, it felt like a knife was being stabbed deeper and deeper into the back of my head. That's when the edges of my vision went black and fuzzy, and I was tumbling down from the sky, winds shipping past me. Then it was all black. Undertaker's point of view. When I first heard a large thump outside my shop, I thought it may be the young lord, back to investigate me for more answers he would only receive if his butler tells me another historical joke. Demons can be quite amusing. But when I stuck my head outside the door, I was greeted with empty London air. Oh well, it may have just been a stray cat. A soft groan sounded in the night. Now that I definitely heard. The night air was crisp and chilly, but with my layering black outfit, I didn't hesitate to stroll outside my shop, my long silver hair hiding my eyes from sight. The ground in front of the shop was clear of anything that could have made the sound, so I walked to the small alley to the side and found a lump laying there, shivering in a pool of what smells like blood. Quickly, I went to retrieve a lantern and a wool blanket, walking back to the person laying wounded on the ground. Another victim of the current murder in London? Quietly, I warmed myself to kneel by the body of a young female. About 17 or 18 at most by her height and curves, and what were visible even in her position. Lovely soft golden hair cradled her limp limbs and hid her face from sight. What is that above her head? Lifting the lantern a bit higher to get a better view, a circular lit band floated above the girl's head, the color of rusted gold. No, it couldn't be. An angel? Softly sweeping her hair from her back, I blinked my bangs out of the way to get a better look. Black wings twitched from overexertion, tired from her flight over here. No, this is no angel. Even fallen. Angel's father never turned the shade of black. As a Shinigami, it was obvious that this girl was not from this realm. Maybe not even from this time period. Now, what's peculiar is the fact that I have no idea what she is, other than the fact that she is bleeding internally. Dried blood stained her ears and the soft skin of her jaw along with her soft rose-petal lips. Her face a soft porcelain pale that glowed with such innocence. What a truly lovely creature she is. I shook my head. Hair bobbing with me. I need to act now or she'll die from brain bleeding. Quickly unfolding the pale blue wool blanket, I cradled the girl and lifted her up with ease, the lantern held between my teeth. Clicking the door open, I walked in and laid her gently atop a wooden table where I normally would examine a corpse. I went straight to work, using my supernatural abilities to heal the bleeding in the back of her brain, then my basic skills to bandage up the bruises and cuts caused from the plummet to the earth. Removing my hat, I wet a towel and wiped the blood from her ears and nose, revealing her lovely pale skin. She did not wake during all of this, as I tried to be as gentle as possible with the lovely creature. As I worked, I wondered what shade her eyes would be when she finally revealed the bound-to-be beautiful bright orbs. I did not dare strip her of her clothing. I wouldn't want to go too far with caring for the stranger. Her oversized dirty black sweater didn't fit her well, along with the shorts she wore that seemed to be a size too big and hang loosely from her delicate hips. I must leave now or I may ravish the poor creature. I wrenched my lingering gaze from her delicate skin and lifted the girl up, going upstairs and putting her in my bed. She should be asleep for some time now. I tucked the fluffy gray comforters around her as she breathed softly, the tip of her thumb between her petal-like lips. Oh, Lord, I'd better leave her be. She's too adorable to be human. Any mortal man would freeze at the sight of her, but those wings, that corona that sticks to her as if it were a very part of her. I shook my head, going back downstairs to fetch my hat and money. I'm sure she'll appreciate something different to wear when she awakens. What a peculiar creature I have on my hands, I wondered aloud. I have a feeling this girl will be important to me in the future.